Aloha, Tulsi. Happy New Year.
Aloha, Steve.
So, how are we going to fix these big long-term problems? What do you think?
Well, you really get to the heart of it when you're talking about small leaders or failed leaders, frankly. As you pointed out, we do not have a shortage of major challenges and problems that are facing the people of this country and our ability to move forward and thrive and prosper as a society. We also don't have a shortage of resources and technology and tools that are available to us to be able to start to tackle and solve these problems. But where we do have a serious shortage is in leaders who actually care. Because in order to actually solve these problems, you have to first care about the people who are being impacted by them. And if you did, then you would spend your time and your energy thinking really creatively, looking at, hey, what experts can we bring in? How can we collaborate to actually solve the root cause of these problems? But instead of leaders who are dedicating their time to that, we instead have leaders who really care for advancing their own interests, holding on to or getting more power, and focusing on this kind of short-term instant gratification of in politics, okay, what's in the next election? What do I have to do in order to win and hold on to this power? And so they spend all their time thinking about themselves. So it's no wonder that these problems perpetuate and grow bigger and more difficult to actually wrap our hands around.
It's exactly. And when you talk about that's exactly right. The causes, not just the symptoms. And as you were talking, I was thinking, well, you know, a lot of people blame things like, you know, social media. They blame cable news. They say, oh, we're all just sort of focusing on the daily battles. Everyone's tweeting and so on. But, you know, and other people say, well, we need to sort of change election rules so people are in power for longer, whatever. We had, in the past, we had leaders here in America that thought long term, whether that's building the infrastructure for the modern economy or whatever. It was the same constitution, the same rules we had then. You know, it's possible to do this.
It is possible. And quite frankly, I think a lot of us need to look in the mirror and say, hey, what am I doing to be a part of the solution? And really, we the people are the ones who get to hire and fire those who are elected into office. They are accountable to us. We've got to choose wisely in what kinds of leaders we have supposedly representing our interests. Because quite frankly, as you and I both know, unfortunately, the same self-serving leaders from both political parties keep getting elected. And we wonder why these same problems keep perpetuating and why they're not paying attention to the needs of the people.
And, you know, it reminds me of one of the I think it was the first time we met and the first conversation we had for this show. It was years ago, and it was a conference focused on political reform, and we really connected on this issue of, I talked about it earlier, in relation to the congressional changes, the fundraising, and the fact that the money in politics that makes the politicians so, you know, detached from being able to think about this because they're just serving the people that give them money.
That's right. They're subservient to their donors, who they see as the pathway to getting reelected and holding on to power, rather than recognizing the truth of the people who actually cast their votes and the ones who have the power to hire and fire them. And that's what's so sad and disheartening about the state of Washington, is how many more hours of every member of Congress spending their day with lobbyists and those who are writing those big fat PAC checks and telling them how to vote on bills, rather than hours spent on looking at legislation and actually focusing on, hey, how can I serve the needs of my constituents and the people of this country?
Exactly. I don't know. Well, we know the answers, so maybe we should be in charge. Tulsi, great to see you as always.
I agree. Thanks, Steve.